Welcome back to the podcast. This is Motivational Memories. My name is Josh Honko. I'm your host. I talk about different topics about lessons that I've learned in life and some of the stories behind those lessons. This podcast, while it might be interesting for you, is for me to document things for my son. He is less than a year old at this point. I am wanting to prepare and make sure that lessons have been documented for him, just in case anything ever happens to me. He'll know, he'll have a good insight into the way that I think, and hopefully some of these lessons I can depart upon him, and I'm going to teach him these principles throughout his life. I also do this so I can kind of document my journey through life and how my ideas change and how I've changed over time and the progress or regression that I've made throughout this journey. So that's the whole purpose of this, and I hope if you watch this and it's helpful to you, that's awesome. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. You don't have to like or follow or do anything if you do not want to. My hope and prayer in this time and age in America and society where traditional things and traditional ideas are downplayed, and I'm able to be helpful, to be a beacon of light for people, and to talk about things that I know that work. Now, I'm not going to get into debate of like what's better for the whole and all of that. No, this is my personal experiences. This is what's worked for me. Could work for you, could not work for you, but I think it will work for you if you apply some of these principles and these truths. Just a little background on myself. I'm a business executive. I run several companies. I don't think I've talked about this before. And COA, at this point in my life, I'm coming up on the big 3-0. But I run several companies, and I've been in corporate America and been more of an entrepreneur. Served some time in the military. Fortunately, I wasn't deployed. I just kind of served and did my time. It was great. I helped people. At the time, I wish I did more warrior stuff, but God has a plan for everything. I did some warrior stuff and had some good times in that. I made some very lasting friendships outside of that, and I bond with people later on in my career because we've had some of those shared experiences. Not necessarily going to talk about a lot of that today. But the major principle that I'm talking about is a quote that I really like, and I heard it a while back. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And this Chinese proverb, it can talk about combat. Like, I think the initial intent was about literal war. Like, hey man, be prepared, be a fighter, have the ability to be violent, but then restrain it. And somebody that talks about that more recently is Jordan Peterson. That's something that he's been a big proponent of. Is you should be violent. You should be able to have the abilities to go to war and to fight, but then control it. Like, because what's the point? Like, that's true manly maturity, where you have control over the strength that you build up. You have control over the power because you use it when appropriate and only when appropriate. That's what being a man really is about. This also talks not just about combat readiness or, the ability to handle things. It's about being prepared. And I think that's true in business. It's true in, if I'm preparing to be an employee versus fighting to be an entrepreneur. Like in business and especially as building business, it's better to be an entrepreneur in peacetime or without competition than an employee with a ton of competition. Like there's different principles I think that could be applied to the same type of format, but I think it talks about being prepared, right? And to be ready to fight for what you want and hope that you don't have to. You know, another saying that I really like is hope or prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Because bad things happen. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Bad things are going to happen. It's inevitable, right? And I'd much rather have my mind ready and have finances ready for that inevitability, for that disaster that could come. Because I think that's what God has called us to do, is to be good stewards of not only our finances and all these other things that God's given us, but also our abilities. We should be good stewards, which means we should be sharpening. We should be warriors. We should be prepared for that. I'm not in the best shape as I've ever been. To make up for that, I have guns. I think it's really important, especially when fighting tyranny or fighting people that they're frankly just ready to kill us. You know, one of the Parkland shooters, I thought about this today. It's happened very recently. It was a person with a conflicting idea that decided to go into a traditional place and shoot it up for that purpose. And, you know, before it happened, you know, it happened at churches and things like that, but this was a Christian school that this happened at. They hate us. They hate Christians. They hate traditionalism because we challenge them. And, you know, we talk about hard truths. We talk about things that are uncomfortable, where in their soul, I think they know what they're doing is wrong, even though it necessarily feels good, and they want to continue to feel good. So if it's not wrong by society, then I'm not going to feel bad on the inside. And I think that's not true. I think we are designed a certain way by God. And when we do things like this, you might feel good for a little while, but I think deep down, you know, it's not what you should be doing. Or you want to be so rebellious against societal norms that you'll do things that don't even necessarily feel good because you're different and you're special, right? So apparently, again, this story's kind of still developing, but this kid went in that was transgender, confused, and, you know, had clearly some mental illness, and shot a bunch of people and killed them. Killed people. One gun on one of those teachers would have stopped that kid and probably and probably saved life. Again, speculating. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. So I believe in being prepared for terrible people, because there are people in this world that are hateful, that are just evil people, and they'll get their hands on weapons regardless if you ban them. Like, it does nothing. It literally does nothing but endangers the society more. It does nothing but allow the opportunity for tyranny to come in, and it will come in, because you know why? People suck. If you take that train of thought through everything, that people just suck, then these policies don't make any sense, because you're assuming that nobody sucks and everyone's going to follow the rules. But I don't think that's their argument. But I don't think that's the real reason. I think the real reason is if you remove guns, then you can control a part of society that you don't like or that doesn't agree with you. And you could force that group to agree with you. Force them to do what you want to do because you want power. Because, frankly, a lot of people that desire power like that have no other areas in their life that they have been powerful. So they, again, have the tendency to lean into that. So don't fall into those pitfalls. Controlled power is much better than just power. Doing right is much better than power. Fighting for freedom is much better than power. And that's the big thing. I have no problem. You don't want to own a gun? No problem. You want to be transgender? Fine. You do you. Stop trying to get everyone else to condone what you're doing. Stop caring what other people think. Stop being so sensitive. Don't be sensitive. Be tough. Because at the end of the day, if it really genuinely makes you happy, then who cares? But I don't think it does. I think they're trying to be special because they're not special. And when you say this is fake or this is garbage, you're basically telling them that they're not special, right? So I think because of this conflict, there's the potential for arms fire here in the United States between traditional groups and these more radical nationalist socialists, so Nazis. Because if you know the history books, Nazis, short for National Socialists. Yeah. No one knows history anymore. Where was I going with this? So, oh yeah, be prepared. Have your guns, have ammunition, not just for hunting, but for fighting, because conflict's most likely coming. Now, the side that is more perturbed, they have less guns than the side that isn't. One of the policies that I've seen in Canada that I seriously would go fight against is if my kid says, if Koa said he's a girl and I don't do anything about it and I just kind of let it run its course until he is an adult to make his own decisions, they could take my kid away from me. If the government tries to take my kid without probable cause, other than I don't believe in their policies, I will fight tooth and nail. You won't be able to stop me. And it's been a while since I fought and really angry. But I would sacrifice life and limb, and they would have to put me in a body bag to be able to step over to go get him. And I know his mother feels the same way. So you'd have to bring a couple body bags if you're going to do that with my kids. Just bring the bags, because it's either I'm putting you in it or you're putting me in it. So just bring them, so I don't have to use any of I don't have to mess up any of my tarps. That'd be great. Thanks. So being prepared is, I think, is really critical. Having certain skill sets. So, some skill sets that I'm teaching myself is iron making. Because I think one of the proponents of being a warrior is to be able to adapt and create your own weapons. A warrior, in the picture, he's got a gun and stuff, but warriors can have swords. Warriors can have bows and arrows. So and in an event of something cataclysmic or catastrophic happening, you need to have those skill sets. I think it's also really good to be in mixed martial arts, which I'm going to get back into. I think I'm going to free up some of my time from some of these companies and go do that. And get back to sharpening those skills, because if you don't use them, they become you become terrible at fighting. I want to get back into that because I enjoyed it. It was good exercise. It really was. I think at the end of the day, son, what I would tell you, do not be scared to be masculine. Masculinity, you don't live in fear. You protect others. You protect freedom. You protect the rights that God gave you. The Bill of Rights and all this stuff that you will fight for if need be. And I pray you are a warrior in a garden. I pray that there is garden times. I think in my lifetime, we're going to see more war and we're going to see more conflict. I don't know if I'm going to get pulled back into it. I don't know. Because I'm getting up there. I'm getting older. I'm fat and I'm broken, so I don't know if they'd take me back, or selective service if it came to that. But just be prepared. Sharpen your skills. Remember what I teach you about shooting, about fighting, about survival, because those are the things that, if it all goes to crap, you'll be able to protect your family. You'll be able to protect people younger and weaker than yourself. Because that's what it's about, is protecting. A warrior stands in front of people. A warrior goes ahead. A warrior is an advance party. They are the front lines, and they are the ones that take care of the rest, even if the rest doesn't ask for it. Even if the rest don't know about it. Warriors are also quiet about what they've done because they're not proud of it. You shouldn't be proud of violence, but you should be capable of it. So don't be afraid to be masculine. Do not be afraid to sharpen skills like this. They're going to call you toxic. They're going to say you're doing toxic stuff. Let them say it. They'll need you when it all goes to crap. This whole toxic masculinity phase, this whole be gentle phase, only works during peacetime. Only works when there is no threat. But when there's a threat, they want warriors. Period. When there's disaster, they want warriors. Period. It's part of the ecosystem of culture. That is extremely important because it protects the rest of it. Without warriors, society would crumble. Without warriors, entire generations would be forgotten. You can look back in history and the nations that are conquered. Tell me a commoner's name. They don't exist. Tell me any of that. There's no graves. There's no marked graves in lost empires. I imagine the same would be true here if we were taken over by a foreign entity. But be prepared, son. Sharpen your skills. Even if you don't join the military like me, and I'm pretty sure your mom's not going to let you. And all that. Just prepare. Remember the things that I teach you. Remember how I teach you how to clear a room. Remember how I teach you how to get behind cover that's solid. Remember how I teach you how to shoot. Remember your trigger squeeze. Remember your breathing. Remember how to be a warrior. Remember how to fight through things. I'm going to teach you this as you grow up and as you be older. But this principle rings true in a lot of things. So be a warrior. Be a conqueror. Be prepared. All right. Well, that's the end of what I want to talk about. It's the end of my little rant. If you like and if you've watched this far, thank you so much. Like I said, you don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe. It's much appreciated if you do, because I think if I'm helping you, please like and share. There's other people out there that need to hear this. There's other people out there that need encouragement about how to be a man. And if you don't, and these lessons might be good for you if you don't have a father, if you don't have a dad, or a male role model. I hope and pray that I can be a good example for you. Feel free to reach out, shoot me a DM if you have anything, or if you need anything. I'm here to help. So, just one last thought, or no, just one last thing. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Be prepared for violence, but then have the strength and control to only show that when necessary. Warriors are in control. So, thank you so much. I love you, Koa. I hope everyone who watches have success in life and in business.